Hello, and thank you for tuning in. I want to start by celebrating something. This podcast, the Mainly Moonology podcast, has now had an amazing 500,000 downloads. Yes, that is 500,000 downloads. So it's amazing, and thank you so much for listening. I would love to record a special episode to celebrate this milestone, but guess what? I'm in France, and the reception here this year is just dreadful, so I just can't. For your information, we are now in the waning cycle of the moon, headed for the new moon. The best way to harness this energy is by focusing on releasing any upsets, reflecting, and of course, making space for the beginnings that will come at the new moon in a pretty short amount of time. So since I can't really record anything more than this short intro because it will take forever to upload it for my team, I actually asked my podcast producer, Aileen, to choose one of our most popular episodes for a replay. I don't even know which one she's going to choose. I look forward to listening to it if I can. So here it is. Have an amazing week. I have the Oracle King himself, Radleigh Valentine, all the way from California. So, Radleigh, before I sort of get into chit-chatting about you, tell me how many card decks you have.
So my 10th one comes out in September. My 11th one comes out in October. My 13th comes out in April. My 14th comes out the next October.
Oh my God.
I know.
You have two coming out within 2 months.
Uh-huh.
I'm looking forward to seeing how you bring them to the market.
I'm looking forward to seeing how I find a way to sleep.
Radleigh was obviously one of the very first people who came to mind because he is so prolific, which even more prolific than I realized. So Radleigh, a couple of things that I wanted to ask you about, some to do with Oracle cards and some just to do with you.
Okay.
So let me just start off by saying you arrived in the world of Oracle cards via tarot, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
And you've had some pushback from tarot people over the years who say they're not mean enough, your cards are not something. What are they saying?
Oh, Radleigh Valentine ruined tarot.
Oh, Radleigh Valentine ruined tarot.
Yes,
wow.
I personally single-handedly ruined tarot.
Amazing.
They just don't.
Yes, we could say.
I think some just don't take me very seriously. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was just.
And do some people say Radleigh Valentine brought tarot to the masses?
Some people say that.
Because you have.
Right. I think that what I did was I took something that was magical and powerful and ancient and turned it into something that was not as disconcerting and scary without taking any of the depth of the meaning out of it. I mean, that was my plan. So I think a lot of people who might have been anxious about tarot but liked Oracle cards found a way to like come to tarot and go, okay, this is not bad. This is not even all that different. I'm good. And so definitely I hear it all the time. People saying I never liked tarot or I didn't want to be a part of that, and who now love it. So
yeah. Well, I basically segued from tarot to your cards because they are I don't know, they seem to just I used the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And I felt that as much as I find the cards disconcertingly accurate at times, I'm not always ready for that kind of information. I do have a question though. Is it Major Arcana card 13 is the Tower?
Uh-huh.
If I get card number 13 in one of your tarot decks, should I secretly fear the Tower, or is it what it is in the deck?
The Tower is one of the cards I think that in tarot it has like a really super bad rap. If you like see it on television or you see it in a movie, then what you're going to see with the tarot is either going to be the Death card or the Tower card. It's going to be something that's super melodramatic. I look at the Tower as not being, oh, my life is going to be torn asunder. I look at the tarot card, as the Tower card, as being, okay, something really big needs to shift in your life. And there are two ways to make the shift. You can make the shift yourself, or the universe will make the shift for you. Guess which one's easier? That you make the shift. But I look at that card
I
as
like that.
being like, yeah, I look at it as meaning something really needs to change. And it's funny that, because I'm going to take it because you brought it up, that's in a way a reading for me, which is, I don't want to get ahead of us, but sort of in a way segues to the first card I pulled out of your new deck. But I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. So
okay. Interesting. So I just want to say, what you just said about the Tower card as an astrologer kind of makes me, which I know you do astrology as well, kind of sounds like an eclipse.
Yeah, I think so. I think
something has to change.
I think if people look at it, people have a tendency to think, if we're going to talk astrology, I think people tend to look at it as some sort of like Pluto tromping across your planets, and it can be, it absolutely can be, but more often it's an eclipse, right?
Yes,
it's
right.
Not quite the intensity. Because I'm quintuple Sagittarius, I very distinctly remember a time in my life where Pluto went parading across all my Sag. Just went boom, 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 boom. I quit my job. My 14-year relationship ended. I moved to Denver, Colorado. It just was like kabowie. And the Tower card can be kabowie, but it can also be not quite so intense.
Yeah. And also with Pluto, let's remember, symbolized by the phoenix that rises from the ashes. So, interesting. Right. Okay. So before I ask you the first question, I wanted to ask you, let's talk about the first card that you drew from my deck.
Yes, absolutely. So I leave that here.
You've been very generous doing this. Thank you very much,
Radleigh. I love it.
Thank you.
I have a thing where the first card I pull from a deck, to me, is the tell-all. It's like, if it's spot on, I know it's good. And I do this with my own decks. The minute I get my hand on it, it's like, because they send us the pre-copy, right? And so the minute I have it in my hands, it's like, that's what I do. I pull a card and say, and, it matters to me if it's spot on. And so the card that I pulled from Moonology Messages was Moonlight Enchanted. And so immediately I like the name, but what I thought was, since every card starts with the word moon, finding it phonetically is a minute.
I'm always trying to get them to put numbers on my cards, and they never want to. I don't know why.
Well, that is so weird, Yasmin, because it's like, Hay House America will not let me not put numbers on anymore. It is a requirement. It's a requirement. They won't.
I beg them, and I'm always told no. I think they think it spoils the aesthetic.
It's so weird, because I can't, and they won't let me. I have to put a number on it.
We need your people to speak to my people.
Anyway, so it says, there is something magical and enchanted about moonlight. Whatever it touches turns a beautiful creamy silver. Something is doing this in your life now, or is about to. Life is all about cycles, as is astrology and moonology. And right now, you're about to move into a more enchanted time or cycle in your life, if you believe. Whatever you're wishing for can come true because you're starting to believe again, perhaps after a rough time. This card reminds you to focus on the good while you process the difficult. If you can't yet feel the magic in your life, take support from a daily practice of just breathing out, with the intention of breathing out stress through cleansing breaths. It might be dark now, but there is moonlight at the end of the tunnel. Good sentence. So keep the faith and see the world through kind eyes. And to me, it's like, this is almost in a way like the moonlight at the end of the tunnel after the Tower card. Right? And it's like, I definitely feel like I've been living the Tower for a solid year and a half.
Right.
And so to me,
Sorry to hear it.
No, it's okay, because it's like
Okay.
that's how things shift, and so I'm good with it. And astrologically, this time is almost over for me of that. And this to me was just so beautiful, and so much a sense of comfort of, yes, here's your validation that the loveliness, the enchantedness that is to come from the hard work is here. So I loved it. I thought it
Oh,
was
that's
perfect.
beautiful, Radleigh. Oh, thank you for sharing that with me. I didn't know you were going to share. I mean, you told me on email, but I didn't know we were going to talk about that. It's lovely. Thank you.
Of course.
Okay, so Radleigh, a couple of things. One, obviously, as well as being, the king of the cards, sorry, you're also extremely well known for your work with the angelic realm.
Yes.
So when we spoke last time on my podcast, we did talk about angels and oracle cards, but I'm not sure if we talked about exactly how to ask for divine guidance from your angels when you are doing a card spread. Is that something you do? You recommend? How do you do it? Should
Yeah.
we all do it?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, it's like there is no all and there is no none. So I don't do the extremes, but I think that angels and archangels are messengers of the divine. That's what they are. And so they are an offshoot of source of the universe. And they're here without ego, without any kind of agenda, without any kind of anything other than pure unconditional love to help us, to support us, to be there for us. So for me, it is challenging to understand why you wouldn't want that relationship, why you wouldn't want to have these magical helpers that God or goddess or whatever word you want to use has sent our way to help us to lighten the journey that is quite intense in an incarnation on planet Earth. So to me, I absolutely believe that bringing angels into anything is a great idea. Newcomers to angels, I suggest they start with guardian angels, because they're dedicated to you and nobody else but you 24/7 for your entire lifetime. They're super, it's not hard to get to know them. It's just a simple matter of practice and creating for yourself some sort of exercise on a daily basis where you connect with your angels. I talk to my angels at nighttime before bed. I talk to my angels when I get up in the morning. I talk to them during the day if weird things happen. And I consider it to be a source of comfort and joy. I mean, they're funny. Angels have a great sense of humor. They're hilarious.
They talk back to you then if you know they're funny.
Oh yeah, no, they do. They're hilarious. All of them. I think the most serious archangel for me is Shamuel. I don't. He's just kind of serious, but most all of them have like great senses of humor. My guardian angels do. If you're a very serious person, don't expect angels to talk to you in humor. They're going to talk to you where you're coming from. That's how it works. But
Right.
I'm a person of humor. I like to
Yeah.
laugh. I like to make jokes. I'm pretty funny. And so they talk to me in the language in which I am accustomed to speaking.
Amazing. So if someone was new to angels and or oracle cards, what do you do? Do you like talk to your angels as you're shuffling the cards?
I do a little prayer, dear archangels, or guardian angels, please help me with this reading. Please direct the right cards into my hands and onto the desk in front of me and help me to be able to interpret them. And, there's very specific angels that I might call upon. Archangel Gabriel is the archangel of communication. So is a great archangel for help me to communicate with the cards and my angels to be able to understand what I'm seeing. Raziel is fantastic. We talked about Raziel in my podcast when you came on to talk about Moonology. And he's the archangel that is said to sit at the throne of God and is all about the esoteric and understanding the secrets of the universe. So there are archangels that are really great. But your guardian angels, again, if you're new, just start there. Let's start at the very beginning, a very fine place to start, right? So that's just a great place to start. And if people are really into it and they want the easy path, the quick path, the fast route, then I highly recommend the very first book I ever read on angels, which is called Angel Speak. It's Angelspeake by Barbara Marx and Trudy Griswold. It's still in print. It's basically a book that teaches you about a concept called automatic writing and how to talk to your angels. And it's literally the Angels 101 elementary school version of Get Started.
Okay, amazing. All right. So when you're reading for someone, what if they do get some cards which are a bit challenging? How do you help them deal with that? And also in the light of the angels being woven into the whole thing.
Right. So the first thing that there are challenging cards in tarot, even in Radleigh Valentine decks, because tarot is life. And life is challenging. So you take all of the challenges out of tarot, it's really not tarot anymore. And so there's going to be cards that are difficult. And I try to remind people that at any given time, a reading is not fate. It is the energy of where you are at this moment and the most likelihood of where you're going to end up.
It's not fate, Fate.
Right. It's not fated. It is where you're headed. And so you can change that. If you don't like where you're headed, change. And so I look at a lot of cards that are very challenging and go, okay, is this where you are? Or is this a heads up about where you are headed? And if it's a heads up, we can change it. If it's where you are, we can take actions to get you out of it. And so I like to do what I call archangel prescriptions. It's something that I created. I don't think the word prescriptions translates. Does that translate in England? I don't know. It doesn't translate in Germany.
A prescription is something the doctor writes you for pills.
Okay. Well, apparently that's not a word in German. Because they make me change it. They make me change it when I'm talking over there. But anyway, it's literally like, okay, here are the archangels that can help you out of this mess. But if there's a challenging card and it's like, well, that's not happening in my life, but it's where I'm afraid I'm going, then I would probably take that card and get rid of all the other cards, lay that card on the table by itself. And then we pull more cards to go, how do I move past this if I don't like it? What are the next steps?
And is that something you teach? Do you have like a certification course where you teach stuff like this just while we're chit-chatting?
Oh, yeah, no, totally. I have my certified angel tarot reader course that's through Hay House. I have a million courses on RadleighValentine.com that's all about reading cards and angels and manifesting. Those are the three things that I teach about.
Right. Amazing. Okay. All right. So your career has already been long and illustrious. What is your favorite thing in your career so far?
The favorite thing in my career, when I'm lucky, repeats itself. My favorite thing is to walk into a room and say, who works with angels? And almost nobody raises their hands.
Oh, wow. I thought you were going to say everybody raises their hands.
No, I want the newbies. I want the kids it's like, I want the ones who I get to see the light in their eyes when it happens. And amazing. I was lucky you and I were at I Can Do It this past April. Almost nobody raised their hands in the room. Wow. I just came back from Celebrate Your Life. Almost nobody raised their hands. And so to me, that's the joy. That's the taking a 5-year-old to Disneyland for the first time. It's letting them get to experience for the first time and see, oh my God, this is amazing. Who knew? I didn't realize. That's my thing. I love that. That's what I love more than anything.
That's beautiful. So when the light in their eyes goes on, Is it what's happened? When they get it, what's happened? What have they got?
What have they got? They've suddenly got access to this magical ability to like make their lives better. I'm going to further explain this to say that my favorite emotion, it's taken me years to really kind of like hone this down. And ironically, it was a recent trip to Disney World that helped me get this like nailed down. But my favorite emotion is awe. AWE. I love to be awed. Because to me, the emotion of awe resonates after love. The second most powerful emotion that resonates with the divine itself for me is awe. To be in absolute awe of existence, of any experience. And that's what you see in people's eyes, is you see this sense of, oh my God, it's getting your letter to Hogwarts, right? That's what that is. It's the, oh my God, the magic is real moment. And I love that moment, and I love being there for other people when they have that moment. That's just the bomb for me.
Amazing. That's beautiful. I love that. So, Radleigh, when I booked you to come on the podcast again, I asked you, what would you like me to ask you? And one of your questions that you said you would like me to ask you was extremely unexpected and unusual. I'm going to ask it to you now. Right. Radleigh Valentine, if you could change one thing from your past, what would it be?
So, to me, that is a very tempting arena. I'm a sci-fi nerd. Okay. Total sci-fi nerd. I always have been. And so I think it's very tempting to spend a whole lot of time in our lives going coulda, shoulda, woulda. That's what my financial planner used to say. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. And it's
Google stock.
Could have bought Google stock. Right. You should have sold everything you had before 2008 and then bought it back in 2009. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. But the whole, I call it time travel. And in my books, I talk about no time traveling. Because when we focus our thoughts and lives on what happened, and God, I wish I could change that, and I wish this wasn't the way it was, and I wish this and I wish that, we are no longer living in the present. And I think we are short-circuiting the future. And so it's a little bit of a trick question, because it's, for me, for me, the answer to the question is nothing.
Okay.
Because I like who I am. I like where I am. We don't know if I went back and changed this, who I would be today, where I would be today. Would my life be like totally different? Would it be terrible? Would it be unfulfilled? And so I put that question in there because I think at the moment you asked me that, which was a couple of months ago, it's like I was in the middle of the tower, and I was in this space of like, I wish I hadn't ever blanked. And yet it's like, well, no, because you don't know what that would be. And I don't want to live in the past. I want to live in the now. And so the answer is nothing.
Well, that's good. So it's good I asked you this question a few weeks or months later, because now you can see how far you've come. That's amazing. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done. So I have two more questions. One is a bit more sort of philosophical like that, and the last one is, again, about Oracle cards. But, in your position as someone who works with the Oracle cards, someone who works with angels, someone who's definitely connected to the divine, what do you wish every human on the planet knew?
That angels are real, and that they are loved, and they're never alone. Yeah. And I wish they knew that. And I wish they knew that all the fear-mongering brouhaha around talking to the divine is purely that. It's a holdover from ancient times where everybody thought where religious leaders wanted you to believe that you can't talk to God except through them. It was a power play, and it's not real. And that there is no single direction to the divine. There is no single path. There's 7.8 billion people on planet Earth. To say that there is only one way to the divine makes God pretty petty and small.
Yeah.
And so I wish everybody could wake up to that.
And I feel like, and I'm not just saying this, I really feel this, that oracle cards are a way to access the divine.
Well, exactly, and that's my point, right?
Yeah.
Without question, it is the divine within you, if nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah. And to know the divine within you, what you're currently creating, as you said, it's extremely empowering. Okay, I want to end on a very much less esoteric question, much more practical question, but it's something that someone on my team wanted to know about. So I'm...
Oh, okay.
So I've seen, back in the day, people using multiple card decks in one reading. Yeah. So they might do 3 or say 5 cards in a row from one deck, and then they do the next row down, or I'm not sure if they got it down in columns or they go in rows or whatever. Yeah. And now I'm going to have 3 decks. I'm thinking, okay, well, I can start to do multiple decks. I've never really understood how people do it, why they do it, does it work? What do you think? And someone on the team asked, Aileen, our producer, who you've been in touch with, he wanted to know that as well.
No, I think it does work. I don't think it's difficult. I think that what it does is it adds 3-dimensional depth to it. I don't play chess. I certainly don't play 3-dimensional chess, but it's a good analogy for it. And so the way people do it is you focus on whatever question it is, and you do 3 cards from one deck. So you have 3 decks. So let's do 3 decks, 3 cards. So 3 cards, deck 1, 3 cards, deck 2.
In a row, not a column.
No. So 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, and then down below that, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So there you've got 9 cards, 3 rows, 3 columns, right? First deck, top, second deck, and then third deck. And so then you read the first card like you would normally. So you turn over the first card, and then you turn over the card beneath it and beneath that. And so if you're doing a past, present, future, that's just because that's easy and a lot of people know that. So the first card is about the past, the second card is still about the past, and the third card is about the past. And so it's like a 3-card reading about the past.
Got it. That's brilliant. I love it.
And then the middle card, now you have a 3-card reading about the present.
Yeah.
And a 3-card reading about the future. And so it adds depth to it. So you would basically go, oh, this card says, your angels are with you. The next card beneath it says enchantment. Okay. And the next card beneath that says strawberry moon or whatever. I'm making stuff up here, but it's like now you're looking at it and going, wow, here's all this information about the past, here's all this information about the present, here's all this information about the future, and now you can look at it and go, here's the depth of that. So I look forward to your first video that you're going to post.
I will do one. I will definitely do one.
Yeah.
Okay, well, honestly, Radleigh, thank you so much for being here to help celebrate the launch of my Moonology Messages deck. But let us also get the names of your 2 decks.
Here is Angel Answer Oracle Cards, and here is the pocket deck.
Oh, and is that the size of a playing card or smaller?
No, it's tiny. It's like it fits in your pocket. So it's carrying the cards around without without taking up a lot of space or a lot of weight and stuff or size.
There's no way you're going to carry those around in your pocket, but
you can, and people do, but this is so much tinier and you're like almost stealth-like, if you will, because it's like you're in Home Depot and you want to pull a card, nobody could see you. And then the other
and that is a great deck, by the way, Angel Answers. I love that deck.
Very, very popular. And then Angels and Auras Oracle Card decks. It's a deck that I did with my BFF, Dougal Frazier. And this is a deck that takes angels and mixes them with aura colors, because archangels all come with a particular color. Auras are a particular color. And at some point, Dougal and I were talking and we realized there was a connection.
Wow.
And so we turned it into a deck. So we're very excited about this, and it comes out.
Do you actually have the cards in there? Yeah. The angel, are you able to draw us all a card?
Absolutely, I can do that.
Okay, so this is for everybody who's watching this.
Right.
Amazing.
Well,
here we go.
So this is divine self. And the card resonates to the color orange. And it says intuition, balance, connection, and spirit. One thing about this deck that's super cool is this is the first deck that I've ever created that is specifically designed to be read inverted or reversed. And so if this card had been reversed, then there are the words that it means upside down.
Oh, wow.
So it would have meant indecisive, uneven, scattered, or stuck in your ego. But we didn't get that. What we got was upside right. And again, it's intuition, balance, connection, spirit. It's about the divine self. This totally resonates with what we've been talking about. A connection with our divine, the inner divine, through oracle cards. We couldn't have picked it better if we had tried.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yes.
So that's 3 decks everybody has to buy.
Yes.
Moonology Messages, Angel Answers Pocket, and Archangels and Auras.
Angels and Auras. Yes.
Angels and Auras. Amazing. Yes. It's going to be okay. Well, I definitely want a copy of that deck, please. In fact, both of them. I think I need a pocket deck. Is that the first ever pocket deck that Angel Answers?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Is that the first deck that's ever been done, pocket deck, by Hay House?
Hay House did like 3 of them at once, I think. It was because they're in alignment with Penguin books, right. I should. And I guess some other people have been doing pocket decks, and Penguin wrote to Hay House and said, "Hey, these are selling really, really well. You should consider this." Yes. And so they did one of mine, one of Colette's, and one of Kyle's. So in a way, we're test subjects.
Brilliant. And for anybody who's listening to this podcast and can't actually see, the pocket deck is, as Radleigh said, even smaller than normal playing cards. So it fits in your pocket. You can take it anywhere. Amazing. So, Mr. Valentine, do tell us where we can find you everywhere.
You can find me at radleighvalentine.com. That's the jumping off point. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Insta. I'm on TikTok, though I don't know why. And my website is the place where you can connect to everything.
Okay, brilliant. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here and your very generous chit-chat. And I hope to see you soon.
Okie doke.